Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nuke coming at you with another episode of Day Trading with Nuke. And today it's going to be nice and short for you. We're going to cover 3 tickers. And the reason I have it shortened down to only 3 tickers is these are the only 3 that I see worth trading that also are showing incredible signs of volume today. This doesn't mean that this is the only thing I'm going to have my eyes on. It's just I'm going to try and keep the watch list shorter and more appropriate for you guys, right? But I will be watching the standard Amazon, Tesla, Netflix, Nvidia, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, BA, BABA, CAT, Square, MU, and AMD. Those are kind of the ones I've been keeping my eye on all the time. But let's get into it. Let's talk about Microsoft. So here we go with Microsoft, and I'm going to reduce this down real quick so y'all can see it a little more clearly. Oops. All right, let's talk about Microsoft and what I am looking at. All right, as we see, Microsoft, actually, you know what, let me back that out a little bit. Remove the drawing. Let's get this tool down. Microsoft has kind of had this little jug that it's been doing, and it had been rising like all the other tech stocks, and then it sold off really good, and it kind of consolidated a bit, and then when everything else dragged down in December, it came down hard with it. Get back here. All right. So anyway, here was that last steep fall, right? And then last week, yeah, we had a few good days, and Microsoft stopped dead on balls at that 200. But what I'm looking at is this area here where we are currently at is we were at the 200, but then you have the 20 and the 50 stacked up above it, but the 9 is below it. So that puts us in a zone that looks kind of like this, right? Or maybe I should have drew that a little bit bigger. There we go. The zone looks kind of like this. So the potential for it coming up here and smashing through this bigger side, there's more resistance above than there is below, right? So when we look on the daily, you know, it had tested it, fell down, tested it, fell down throughout the day on Friday, and then it came, made a rally, tested those pre-market highs, never broke them. Fell off again to about the little more than the 50% mark, and then it came back up and it set in a new lower high, and that lower high has stuck with us in the form like this, right? And even if we went back to the beginning of the day before and drew this across, any way you slice it, we're still in a downward trend. So overnight, well, this morning, once markets opened, this thing has came down, popped back up to that line, came down, tried to pop back up to that line, came back down, rallied up a little bit, and the algorithms are shoving it down. Therefore, I'm looking at playing this definitely to the short side today. But beware, you don't want to be stuck into this too much because you don't want to get it to cover pop on you and snap back up really, really fast to these levels here. So what are we looking at here? Pre-market high currently of 101.87, pre-market low of 110 to the downside, and the extensions are going to be at 103.60 on the high side, 105.35 if we go up to the 200%, and then on the extension to the low side is going to be 98.35 and 96.60 at the 200. So where does that look at on here? We should be able to see that project over here, 96. Why is that not? It should be showing up over here, guys. So we'll look at it this way. Here's your 96. So look at this chart while I mark it over here. So here's our 96. So it's a little unrealistic, but this is really realistic, right? And that's 50% below between the 100% and the 200% extension. And that matches up perfectly with this wick. And then if we go up just a little bit, this 200% extension is nearly at the bottom of this candle. 50% extension should put us at the bottom of that other candle. Yeah, right here, right? So yeah, this looks good to me, right? Now the chance of coming up here, right, 100% extension on the high side, we've got several areas of resistance we need to pass, but that also puts us right here at the 20 EMA on the daily. So that's my interpretation here on Microsoft. All right, next up is going to be Apple, and Apple dropped down, then at the end of the day on Friday, it had this little pop, and it didn't really get into the 100% too much, just the first fib, right? And then immediately snaps back down 1 fib up from low of day. And then over the weekend, it comes back up, sets a little bit higher high, but then it's been selling off ever since. So I am cautious to say this thing's probably going to skyrocket to the upside, but let's look at it on the daily, right? Where is this thing at on the daily? So I'm going to scoot down just a little bit. All right, pre-market low, pre-market high. Okay, now if we come up to 100% extension, we're kind of in the middle of that band. If we go down 50%, let's see, that should put us right here, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't see it getting much above this. Not quite the 50% extension. And then the 200% extension is all the way up here. So 161.52, if it gets out of the 160.5, maybe it'll hit the 160.5, unless it's got a lot of juice behind it, which I just don't see it this morning. Now on the downside, if it breaks out of the pre-market trend or channel, we get down here to the 50% extension, which should be right around here. We're looking at the bottom of the wick from Friday, and then the full 100% extension. All right, that's kind of no man's land. Where's the next stop at? There's the 150 extension. We're getting awfully close to this wick here from, I guess that was like Monday or Tuesday. No, had to be Wednesday. Whichever day wasn't Christmas. Yeah, and then down here, that puts us across at the 200. So Apple might have itself a epically horrible day today if it doesn't get the strength and go on and break on up. So we'll have to see how it goes. But currently in the pre-market situation, what we are looking at is it had that gap up and it came down, and it's been steadily downtrending just a little bit each time as it goes. So I'm not really long on this thing. I'm expecting to see them. They might pop right out of the gate, but I'm expecting to short them today. And last but not least, AMD, because of the amount of volume. It had already this morning, tons of volume. And yeah, it was very choppy. What I was looking at on Friday was it holding a pattern kind of like this here. Oops. Right in here, wedge, it broke out, and then it came right back into that. And then what it did over the weekend, it gapped up, and then it's basically been kind of trending down a little bit. But it did have these pops where it did come back up to retest it, but then it kind of failed it. So seeing as it refailed it, I'm kind of expecting it to go further to the downside, right? So all right, pre-market high of 18.29, pre-market low of 17.79, and then let's look at the extensions. 100% extension to the upside is way up here on a daily candle, right? And then on the low side, pre-market low extension of 100 is 17.29. That puts us right here close to this bottom of this candle here, which is sensible. And then let's say it's a horrible day, 16.79, that puts us at the bottom of this candle, and I see that more realistic. Plus, when you're looking at this, it's just like the other one we looked at a while ago in Microsoft, is I have way more resistance above. We have a 200, we have the 20 is pushing it down, the 50 is coming down, So the 200's got a gentle slope, yeah. So I expect to see some resistance. 20 EMA is just over the 100, so yeah. A lot of resistance to the high side, so I expect to see this come on down today. I could be wrong. We never know. That's why we don't predict. We only react. But that's what I got for you guys. 10 minutes in. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Leave me some comments, and I hope you like the shorter, more detailed on less tickers. All right. See you at the recap.